Okay, well, what can I say? Round 4 of the Manufacturers Cup starts off a little bit interesting. So we qualified 3rd, not bad. It is raining like throughout this race. So what I found is racing intermediates, just run them. You could go racing hard and then just go slow for like a lap and a half when it gets a little bit saucy like this. But as you can see, these are the kind of people that were in this race. Yeah. So that's what I have to deal with in this one. So as I progress it, I'll kind of fast forward here. We get to the 13th lap. There's only 5 laps left. You know, holding 4th place, doing pretty good. Guy next to me is battling me a little bit, and that's going fine until this guy in the Genesis decides to just shoot this corner, use me as his brakes, and puts me into the wall. So I have a penalty, I'm already behind, and I spun out earlier in this race, so ended up finishing 10th. So the very first time out the round 4 was not very good, just to say the least. Okay, now this is the second run. So qualified pretty decent, 3rd again, not bad at all. Racing with a bunch that is a little bit more race savvy, not trying to play bumper cars. So this race is pretty good. The first few laps are not bad at all. It's getting used to the way the track progresses in this one, because it goes from dry to rain to really downpouring rain to drying out again, and that all happens throughout. So every lap's a little bit different, and you have to kind of adjust your brake points and everything as you're racing. So much more challenging. Not having to do tires and stuff wasn't bad, but just battling the track conditions was tough. So I'll let you enjoy some of it here. So as you see here, we pull out front, and that is the last time we're gonna see the rest of them for the rest of the race. Yeah, I got in a group here, and I was just running faster than them. It was more just trying to get around them without causing an incident. I mean, a couple of them stay with me here, but overall I pull away pretty hard here, even though this gentleman kind of battling me here, but it's pretty much over because he's just not fast enough in the corners. So now we're pulling a 2.5 second lead, and that gap just proceeds to get more and more. And yeah, it was probably one of the easier races I've had to do for the Manufacturers Cup, excluding that first run, which was a complete nightmare. But anyways, yeah, it's pretty good. It's really cool. I really like doing the online racing. You feel that competitive edge. Your heart races when you're racing. You know, there's no retry button, so you got to go in there and do your best. Now the track here is starting to dry out, and you can tell too because I'm starting to brake a little later, getting my traction back in my tires. Tire wear wasn't really a problem. I thought it might be after 18 laps, but it didn't seem to even bother the car. So, but yeah, you can kind of tell, and it's really cool in Gran Turismo that they have this feature because it kind of doesn't matter about the car. It comes down to really the driver and how they can adapt to the changing environment. So now we're midway, track's starting to really dry out. You can see the line starting to come back, and you'll see the gap just kind of grow and grow. Not a very eventful race, but just noting about the weather. That's a big thing that you can take away from this, and like how to adapt through these different changes and how the race is going to change depending on what time it is. The race earlier was far more weather than this one, so even race to race it can change in the same exact event. It's kind of cool. So jumping ahead a couple laps here, I'm starting to now gain on the pack. I've never lapped anybody online racing. Pretty interesting that that's even possible. You wouldn't think so. Yeah, got a couple of them here. And since there was many laps of the same thing, I'll just jump into the final lap here. You can clearly see the track now, how it's dried out over the last few laps, which does make it pretty interesting, because it's tough, because if you hit like a certain spot, you can even have your car kind of kick out, or you lose control. If you hit a puddle, you'll hydroplane. I mean, just the mechanics are amazing in this game. Alright, there we are, finished number 1. Not a bad race, probably one of the easiest ones I've ever had to compete in on here. But yeah, got a clean race on it, took home the victory. And 80,000, that's not bad. So here's our current rankings for this Manufacturers Cup for Test Season 2. Alright, appreciate you guys stopping by and watching this week's Round 4 of the Manufacturers Cup. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Later.